Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first HEPIT or MSU HEP Instructors Training. My name is Akulina Segula, and today we'll be talking about 10 ways of how to engage our students. Training overview. We'll talk about introduction. We'll go over training objectives. Then we'll explore 10 tips of how to engage our students. Then we'll talk about feedback, key takeaway, and I'll have a list of additional resources. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Introduction. As we all know, that adults learn very differently than children. The adult learning theory or andragogy is the method or practice of teaching adult learners. It was developed by Malcolm Knowles back in 1968. According to andragogy, adults differ from children because adults need to understand why learning is beneficial. The main points of this theory are that adult learners are self-directed and expect to take responsibility for their decisions. Adult learners tend to be seeking education for their needs and goals. When teaching adults, it's important to consider that an adult learner is likely to have very limited time for learning. In our case, only 3 hours, Monday through Thursday. Our students could be juggling their education on top of full-time jobs or caring for their families. Since an adult learner's time is so precious, we have to do our best to keep them engaged and get the most out of our lesson time. In this training, we'll go over 10 tips or 10 ways to keep our students engaged so they can maximize their learning experience. Our training objectives. We just went over history and principle of andragogy. We talked about main differences between the pedagogy and andragogy. Then we'll explore 10 ways to keep our students engaged. And we'll learn about example and recommendations. Way number 1, always plan your lesson. Planning ahead means you enter the classroom each day fully prepared to teach new topics. Without a lesson plan, students can quickly lose focus and motivation. Having a structure in place helps you to approach each lesson with confidence, to manage lesson time more effectively, and keep learning process consistent. This is very crucial to have your lesson plan. Tip number 2, use simplified language. When you use simple words, it can be more beneficial for your students to comprehend that new information. Try to talk like your students talk. Use the same vocabulary to explain new material. You can try, instead of reading a new definition of the book, you just can try explain it in your own words. Tip number 3, diversify your instruction. Adult learners are faced with unique challenges, background experiences, and skill gaps. Providing diverse learning options for our HEP students will help them stay engaged and focused. Flexible and wide-ranging resources can help learners master skills they haven't already obtained and keep them from becoming bored. You can try incorporate some video clips, some polls, some quizzes, and breakout rooms on Zoom, and etc. Number 4, ask open-ended questions. An open-ended question is a question that cannot be answered with one word. Open-ended questions usually start with words like what, how, and why, and invite reflection and a more descriptive response than a closed question. Open-ended questions are a really helpful tool for effective communication, opening us up to a fuller reality and facilitating a better conversation. Open-ended question can help students think more creatively, improve their reasoning skill, and achieve the better results. You can use this technique in any subject. For example, try to use it during active learning phase or we do model when you work with your students together. Tip number 5, let your students lead. Student-led discussion can work as a strategy for student engagement and to enhance metacognition. When implement student-led discussion, make sure you provide clear guidelines about their purpose and expectation. Zoom breakout rooms is a good tool to use for this purpose. Group interaction is important to learning process. Let your student discuss topics to learn from each other. Make sure to act as a moderator during this group discussion to give everyone a chance to speak and feel included. They can take turns and discuss questions or math problems. Number 6, include real-world examples. Adults pull from their own experiences. Unlike children, adults have years of real-life experience to draw on when they learn something new. When you include real-world examples and realistic scenarios in your instruction, it helps them to connect with the past experiences of your students. Example, you can use like money, math problems like buying gas or paying for groceries or getting something on sale and so on. Number 7, practice makes perfect. This one is really important because we prepare our students specifically for GED test, and it's timed, and without practice, it will be really hard to succeed, right? So make sure that there is a plenty of practice time built into your lessons. Ensure that your students fully understand a topic before moving on. You can try independent practice activities where you let them practice in a you-do model, and then you can review those examples with your students. Number 8, offer immediate feedback. Make the educational experience more powerful and effective by offering immediate feedback when they make an error, a mistake, or even when they need to know about an alternative problem-solving approach. This will provide them with an opportunity to learn from mistakes by catching them at the moment they occur. And again, I wouldn't have a lot of time, so we have only 3 hours, so we have to make sure that those 3 hours are very, very efficient. You can try ask volunteers. You can work with them together. You can review and give immediate feedback. Number 9, introduce new words. Teach relevant ESL vocabulary. Our students need the appropriate English vocabulary to help them relate to others on both a personal and business level. And they rely on you to give them the best and most common words and phrases that will help them improve their communication skills. Be sure to choose vocabulary that is connected to your student lives and can be easily applied to their world outside of the classroom. For example, if you can type a word for Elta or change, if you can type it in the chat box and you can say it so students can hear it and can see the spelling. Or for example, slope, pendiente. Again, if you can type slope in a chat box where they can see it and they can hear it at the same time, it's a win-win situation for our students. And last but not least, positive reinforcement. As you interact with your students, praise and reinforce them. Doing so will keep the atmosphere in the classroom positive and will encourage greater engagement from all students. Positive reinforcement directly affects students' beliefs that they can succeed. It leads to increased persistence, self-evaluation, intrinsic motivation, and resilience when students encounter obstacles and setbacks. It leads to increased learning and higher achievement. This is really important. I usually use this every time with my students. I thank them for being in my classroom that day, always. So our key takeaways. We went quickly through introduction. We explored 10 ways to keep our student more engaged. We went through available tools and recommendations. And we always have to remember that we need to praise our students for effort. And I think I have a list of additional resources with links provided. And with this training session, I will include a lesson structure. I will email. And if you have any questions, please let me know. You can email me, you can text me, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.